So right now we're taking a look at the Monolith Audition series consisting of the B5 bookshelf, the T5 tower, and the C5 center. So I have to be honest about these speakers. I'm a bit torn because there are things I really love about them and some things that I really don't. Let's get into it. It's Joe and Tell time. For full disclosure, Monolith is a channel sponsor. They sent these free for me to review. They did not get to watch the video prior, and I'm allowed to say whatever I want about these speakers. All right, so first thing we have to talk about is the price, because these are the lowest priced Monolith speakers. Monolith's parent company is Monoprice, and they do have less expensive speakers, but in the Monolith lineup, these Audition series are the least expensive. As of right now, the price of the T5 towers are on sale for $202, normally $249, so $500 a pair. Very inexpensive for floor standing speakers. Right now, the B5 bookshelves are $101.25, down from $124. At the regular price, they're still inexpensive at $250 for a pair of bookshelves, but right now, they are $200 for a pair. The C5 center is $129, normally $159. So keep in mind that all of these are using the 5 1/4 inch driver. They do have even smaller versions and less expensive ones that use a 4-inch driver. One thing about the towers is that they are very short towers. They're very small and compact, very cute. They kind of remind me of the old Pioneer FS52, some of my favorite budget floor standing speakers, along with their BS22 LRs. Now this system is still more expensive than that was at the time, but you can't get those anymore. So I've been testing them out with music and movies. It really is enjoyable. And what surprised me is, although I don't like the bright speakers, it was more listenable here in my living room. If you are listening from further away, maybe you can get away with the sound of the speakers out of the box with them being brighter. Right now, I'm pretty far from the speakers. So if I'm over here listening in the kitchen area, well, that extra treble actually helps. The measurements say that they're too bright. They do sound bright, but in certain cases, that extra treble was useful. I really do want to keep this system here in the living room because the center channel just really helps with dialogue, and I need to find a way to set up the surround speakers, but if I do, then I think I'd really enjoy this 5.1 system here. I do need an AVR for that, so I think that's what I want to do. So I just finished using the spatial audio calibration toolkit to do a manual calibration along with this mini DSP Flex UMic 1, still using the same Fosse Audio BS-A1 4-channel amplifier, and man, it sounds amazing. So for the things I don't like, it's very simple. It's just the tweeter is too bright. So where the tweeter crosses over at 3.4 kilohertz, it's just too much of a treble rise by about 3 decibels for my calculations. Now I did ask about this and they said that that was not their intended design, and something happened in the manufacturing process where basically it's brighter than they expected. And so that reflects because the graph that's on their website is not what I was seeing in my graphs. So that's a bummer for me because I do not like bright speakers at all. But problem is that these take well to EQ. So after I did my manual EQ, I would just have to say they sound very impressive. So for most speakers, I would say, well, I'm gonna rate them based on how they perform out of the box without any DSP. But because these are so inexpensive, for the money that you save, you can use some kind of DSP processing or an AVR and do some kind of manual calibration or auto calibration to get these sounding really good. So their potential is really high. These are very capable speakers. The towers can get down pretty low. The bookshelf, you'll probably want a sub. Right now, my recommendation is if you can spend a little bit more money, I think the more expensive Encore series is really worth it. They're some of my favorite speakers of all time. I currently use that entire series in my main theater. I have much more expensive speakers, but I still use the Encore series. So those are better speakers than these. They're also a little bit more expensive, but they sound good out of the box. Whereas these, they really need that DSP. So these speakers have a lot of potential, and I think that they're great if you want something that you can grow with. If you learn how to use some DSP, you can really get a lot out of them, and it's a good feeling because it feels like you've done some work to get them to sound good. Whether that's for you, maybe, maybe not. If you prefer not to do that, there are other speakers that are just better out of the box. You got to consider the price and whether it's worth it for you to spend that extra time. So before we take a look at the speaker leaderboard, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Let's go.
All right, so here we are at the speaker leaderboard. Let's go ahead and put the B5's for the best passive speaker category, I'm going to go ahead and put them right here between the PSB Alpha P5 and below the SVS Prime bookshelf. The common theme here is if the treble wasn't so hot, I'd probably place them even higher somewhere up here. As passive desktop speakers, they're not the smallest, they're not too large, but I would probably put them, again, maybe somewhere around here, right above the Alpha P5, below the Diamond 12.1. I usually review based on what things are priced at currently, and these are at $200. They are on sale. I don't think that it would be fair to put these in the under $500 category, just because that's more than twice the price that they are currently at right now. If I were to put it in the $500 category though, I'd probably place them again near the Alpha P5, Diamond 11.1. But in the $200 category, I'm going to place the B5s below the Pioneer FS52 towers and above the ELAC BS41s. And last but not least, overall sound regardless of price, all these are more accurate and have more bass. So it's got to beat it in at least those two. I think I'm going to go ahead and place them right here above the Alpha P5s. The P5s did have some pretty good bass, but something about them just was a little bit off to me. And the Triangle Borea, very popular speakers, but they also had a lifted treble response, kind of the same as these Audition B5s, but these B5s are a lot less expensive. That's why they're up here. The Bro 3s did have a better look, so it's a toss-up. This is just to give you a general idea. This is the more interesting one to me, the Monolith Audition T5 towers, because these are still very inexpensive at around $400 a pair currently. So in the best tower category, I might actually place these right around here. The Crystal 4.3s, these were pretty cool, but they're not available anymore. And yeah, I do think that these outperform the Pioneer FS52 towers. Both of them didn't have a great frequency response out of the box, but I think that these are more correctable than the FS52s. In the under $500 category, I'm looking for bass response, I'm looking for soundstage imaging, and neutrality or accuracy. So I would have to say that these T5s I would probably prefer over the UB5s if I had to choose just a single speaker. Ooh, that's tough because I do like the concentric. You know what? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to put the UB5s above these right there. And best overall sound, regardless of price, I'm going to have to put them below the T6 tower, below the B6 bookshelf. But I do think that they sound better than some of these here. Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and put these right here above the Wharfdale Crystal 4.3s. So there you have it. Make sure to check out the other videos where I do measurements of these speakers, as well as the other binaural demo where you can listen with headphones and get an idea how it sounded in my living room.